appointed. And that's what we're discussing, is about who will be appointed.
So in April of 2024, when I brought a name for appointment, and they were voted down by the city, was that appointment?
What's the question?
So in April, I brought a name forward for someone to be appointed. It might not have been April, maybe it was June, May. I think it was May. I could go back and look. But in May of 2024, I appointed someone, city council voted them down, and they were not appointed.
They were not approved. Right?
Yes, they were not appointed because you didn't approve them. City council has always had the ability to vote those people down, always. If you don't approve someone, they don't go forward. So even if the mayor, so even if I would have, the week when I appointed these three men, if three of you would have voted against them, they would not have been approved.
So
But they
if
were.
they're not approved, so then where does it go back for to appoint someone else? Whose lap does that go back into for appointing someone else?
Well,
The way it is written today.
currently, in the last 24 years, the mayor appoints, city council approves, but as we know, this time I included Malcolm, I included Debbie. You know, we had talked about if we want to include a member of the planning commission
But I think,
on that committee.
I think what you're talking about is who interviewed them, not who appointed them.
Correct,
So the appointment came,
but the mayor
From the mayor.
has our ordinance, and then city council approves, correct? If you would have voted them down. And you
advise and
do.
consent, is how it says.
Correct.
So we,
The whole voting process, though, wasn't quite straightforward. And that was where I had a little bit of a problem with it. So, if it would have been different, I would have voted different.
What do you mean by that, Debbie? Can you explain a little bit what?
Well, because in the work meeting, we had discussed that Sheldon and Blake would be put on the next meeting. If we went ahead and went with Sherry's recommendations, I voted that way, and then that did not happen the next week. And there has been a lot of discussion and a lot of problem getting them to this point. And I feel that it should have went a lot smoother, and there shouldn't have been any contention about it. And that to me was a little bit of a problem. It should have just been as it was spoken.
Well, all I'm saying is I feel like before we change the ordinance, because after tonight, we will have no new planning commissions appointed for a year. And that will give us a year that we could go through and decide. So when we do our ordinance, we are actually following state code as it defines.
Which state code is that, Sherry?
If you go, Debbie, I don't know if you have your powers and duties book there with you.
Well, I'm just going straight off of Utah state codes. I've got them pulled up.
8301.
Which one is it? I'm sorry.
109A301.
301.
Yeah.
So it's 10, 9A, 301. I think.
Okay, I've got that pulled up.
And it defines how it should be. And I said that this applies to someone, well, anyway.
An ordinance establishing a planning commission, right?
So it goes through and lists everything that it should include. So all I'm saying, like I mentioned, each municipality, we have to have an ordinance establishing it. We have to define the number and terms. Municipality chooses alternate members, mode of appointment. One sentence stating.
This does not say all of that in this Utah state legislation. So legislature code.
Yeah,
It's a little different.
look that up for us.
What?
Yeah, either way we do it, it's gonna follow.
Well, but this, so again,
We don't have right now in our ordinance how we choose alternate names and all that stuff. So there's still,
well, it used to not. This is they
well,
changed
anyway,
it.
there's still holes in
Sure.
our ordinance now, so.
But that was what my question was. Then does this mean that the mayor, does, and the city council does, each city council member separately does. You know how you read through Far West? I wasn't even sure what this language even meant when you said the city council, the mayor and the city council shall separately recommend. So does that mean the city council as a body recommends, or you recommend, Dell recommends, Ryan recommends, Lisa does? And then-
I'm sorry, I think that this, where it says the city council, that's as a group, that's a body. The city council is a body.
So how do you get together then to do that? Because you can't meet as a group, so
Well,
somehow it has
I
to
really think, given just a little time, we'll work through that process, and there are ways that we as a city council, excluding the mayor, could also recommend or appoint members to be on the planning commission. There's ways to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying we should maybe get that in place so it's in our ordinance. Because if we pass this ordinance tonight, this language is not very clear of what it is. So anybody reading our ordinance and it says the city council shall separately, so you just made some clarifying there. So what Debbie's saying is the mayor is one person, the city council as a body will separately, so you'll get together to recommend, but you can't get together, and who does the interviewing? Because like Reed said, so I interview and then you divide the city council
Well,
into groups to, or
I
how?
think you're trying.
There are some channels there.
There's
The
a
city
lot.
council can interview, you have to have a local meeting, and you can do that.
Sure, I mean, I think you're trying to complicate it to where it can't be done, but I think our point is it can be. If we
It
just
can
get
be,
this
yes.
ordinance in place, then we'll refine it, and we've got time to do that.
The main point is that we would like to say, that's all we're asking.
Yeah.
We want to say, well, we
Well-
a bit more to say. And,
Well,
Well, the current statute is advice and consent. So the advice part has never been defined very well, and you can certainly do that. You can define what it means to advise, and that could mean that there are at least 2 city council members in a review panel, along with the mayor and others. And whatever that group comes up with is the name comes, rather than a single selection, that's possible. So there are some things you can put in there that might be pretty helpful.
Isn't there a way we could, I mean, isn't there a way we could kind of still do what we're doing? But the city council who is interviewing with the mayor could individually give their ideas to the city council members, and then they could each decide for themselves and come up with a name. I mean, all it basically is the city council adding names to the pool that the mayor, has. It's just another couple names. That's all it is. And then it's decided from that pool of names.
There's got to be a smooth way. I can say that for many, many years, in various positions, county attorney, interviewed many people. And seldom would I ever be by myself. I usually have 3 or 4 others with me, and when we finish, we sit down and together we decide who the person should be. That's ideally how it would go. Now, how you delineate that in an ordinance, I'd have to do some thought, but that's sure it works.
that's why I'm saying, rather than us pass an ordinance tonight that we have to go back and change. And if we give Reed some time to think about and we work out how we would like this to say, so when we do our ordinance, it's something that we do, because we're not going to be appointing any more, like I mentioned, planning commission members for a year. We have a month or 2. We could give Reed some time to go through, and maybe we want it to be as specific as Far West. Theirs where it was by far the most specific. Sunsets, I called the mayor of Sunset, and he actually sent me theirs, and he had a little more specific language in his as well. Because like I said, if you have Unicode, it's a little better. Some of the others, you would really have to call the city to even find out. So that's just what I'm recommending. Let's just give Reed some time to, and it's not that this won't be back on. because we will put it back on the agenda. I just don't understand why we need to do it tonight when we
Well,
still have so
I
many
think what our
questions.
thought is just putting it in motion, so it's in place, and then we'll refine it. We have time to refine it. But at least that sets a starting point. It sets a mark that we're looking at, so that we don't miss the mark with something that wouldn't support this.
Well, and I think we're always really careful with our ordinances. I don't think we've ever just passed an ordinance with the thought,
Well, no,
you know, and then let's wait and
no,
change it
I'm
next
not
month.
implying that. I'm not implying that. I'm just saying that this is something that I think has been brought to our attention mainly because of how the state legislature now looks at the approval of subdivisions. That's really the foundation that started this, is because it just doesn't, there is no check and balance with the approval of subdivisions. The one and two subdivisions. There isn't. I mean, it goes to the planning commission. They sign off on it, and there's not, we don't even have to have public hearings anymore.
The
So,
check and balance
Hopefully
is
you do
the-
that.
Yeah,
Hopefully you do that.
Yeah.
but we don't have to.
but the check and balance is the technical review committee, so there is still a check and balance. Because you still do have the city planner, the city engineer, the chairman, or someone from the planning commission. You have, who am I missing? Some, the director of public works. So they all have to approve that. It's like it used to be, and then Tracy would send a memo, and when, by the time planning commission got it, it would say, everything has been approved, all of the will serve letters are there. So it's not like now they blindly are given.
No, I didn't say blindly.
Yeah,
We don't
so there is,
don't
there is
put
some
the-
check and balance.
create a picture there that I, words that I didn't say. I don't mean that, but anyway.
Any more discussion? You know, I don't know that we were necessarily going to agree on this, because I'm still recommending, we don't have to have this done tonight because we're not appointing any. I would sooner like to see Reed take some time and us even discuss it. And then I would like to see something in our ordinance more specific, like Far West, that delineates who's going to be on that committee, an actual process of doing that. So when we have our ordinance written, it's not we pass this tonight and then 2 months later we pass in the ordinance.
Well, it's just,
I've looked at the cities that do that.
Most of the cities, like I said, are the exact same wordage as ours, unless if you go to Far West, and theirs has a pretty technical one that says on it. Most of them do in their more delineate how they appoint, if they do have substitutes, how if someone is replaced, how that happens. Most of them are fairly simple, and every one of them, like I mentioned, except for those two. But Far West, if you read through it, they have a really exact process, and they have, like, even as far as they say standard interview questions, which we did that. Malcolm produced a list, and we used those same, and they talked about the interviews in a closed meeting. I mean, if you go through and read theirs, it talks about the panel, how they should rank the candidates, determine which candidate shall be recommended to the city council. So they have it's quite a detailed
sure.
process.
So let me
So
ask you,
if you check with, you go to those meetings, have you looked to see if other cities are doing what you're thinking, that because of the change in the
well,
approval
I
process,
think
that
this
maybe
is,
they changed the
I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if other cities start to do it.
I'd be interested to know.
And that's this process that you're talking about. I don't know that all that was approved in one setting. I don't know if they approved an ordinance and then over time they take a city like Far West or some of those that have been around longer.
Well,
Maybe this has kind of been a process where they refine things, and that's what we would like to do. The reason you change things is to make it better.
I can
And-
tell you when Far West changed this, it was with their current mayor, because I spoke with him, and it used to be the same that ours was. And he said when he became mayor, he felt like that the planning commission should be the ones selecting other members on the planning commission. So theirs changed to this, and when the mayor was elected after them, I think that was, I don't know if he went in, he might have even gone in just a year ago, or it might have been 2 years. And that's when they did theirs, because theirs used to be the same as ours. Well,
So they
I,
have improved upon it. They,
well,
Let's
they,
move on.
yeah, let's move on. Oh,
Okay.
Reed, let's have you look at that. That would be good. If you'd maybe see, and we could look, and we can be asking, you know, if we go
We-
to
we still
league meetings.
We still want.
Well, it still is on the agenda, so it will be. Okay, let's move
So
on.
the colleagues, I just interject here. We're gonna vote on minutes tonight from the 23rd of January. And in those minutes, it says that, Bryce made a motion, to go from 5 to 7 members and the ordinance document brought forward by council in its entirety minus 10-5-2, number 1, first sentence. So that was the motion that was voted on and approved the last time. So that has to happen this time in order to fulfill the motion that was made last time. Correct?
You passed it.
Yeah.
Continue. There's
Councilmember. Motion to approve ordinance one. Ordinance increasing the. So passed in its entirety, minus 2, which is the one that's changed here. And then you passed it, so they took that line out, and then you passed it. Say,
read on.
First sentence is brought to city council on February 6th for the first action on the effective date, January 28th, 2025. Councilman Bill second. So it does say it has to be done. I'll look at it tonight. Now, if we change, I just can't. Let's say it has to go up.
Yeah, we can change the minutes, but
No, not change it.
No, not
You have
changing
to
it.
have to come up and put it on.
Yes. Yes, so it will come up. That will be our first item of discussion and motion. So someone will either make a motion or someone can make a motion that it's tabled for further discussion. Okay, so another thing that we need to talk about was the staggering of the, how we want to do the staggering of those. So in the, there's 2 different ways, and you know, I've kind of made, and we talked about that. It could be a 3-2-2, and then you have 1 year where you're not getting a new member. It can be 2-2-2-1, and every year you're getting a new member, but we still then need to decide how we're going to be staggering those. So I don't know how we want to do that.
Well, if you're gonna do anything other than 2-2-2-1, or 1-2-2-2, you didn't have to change last week, so, because it says no more than 2.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to change last week's 2 to add in this sentence, 1 sentence as well, aren't we? Because this wasn't in there last week. The sentence, if possible, or at the next available city council or planning commission. Is that
Well, none
what?
of that was in there, I don't think.
Yeah, it wasn't in there last time, but it was in, it's something that has been added. So that'll have to be changed too.
You have to have something with it.
so it's in the ordinance as now.
Is how it is written.
So wasn't that option B?
Yeah, that was the one. I just put 2 options because I thought we could discuss it and see how, the only difference would be is one, you'd have a year where you didn't have to appoint somebody new, which, and then that doesn't matter. But then we still need to decide which option we want to do and then how we're going to decide who we're going to have those.
So let's say we go with option B. How do we? What do we determine who falls into those categories?
let's see, it's option B, the 1,
1,
Year
2,
two
2,
remaining.
2.
1, 2,
year
3.
2. Not the 1, 2, 3, 4, but
No,
that's the
no.
years remaining.
No, option B is just, we have one that has 1 year, and then there's 2, 2, 2, so 2, and we have, 2 existing planning commission members that for sure will have 2. So my thinking was, because I don't really know how we go about fairly doing this, because I don't know if we want to go by how many years they've served, and they have less, they have more. So my option was we put 5 leaves in a full, we draw them out, and to me, that seemed like the fairest way to do it then. We just put names and we draw them out, because how do we go about determining who we feel like?
We would do that, and do a blind vote with columns. And then combine the votes.
If they, you know, in my mind, they do a good job to keep them in there, you know, so the guy that gets 1 year, you know, someone's gonna get 1 year.
Well, yeah, but how do we know?
What you just said,
Yeah.
call them out.
No, I'm just saying, oh, you're saying then the person who gets 1 year
Yeah.
and in a year we reappoint them.
Right. because-
Okay,
Because
If
someone's
they-
gonna get the short straw.
somebody's gonna get, yeah, I know, someone's going to get 1 year, no matter what, and that's what I thought, if we just drew them out. And then you're right, if after a year, if they reapply, of course.
Sure.
Then, and then with, however we, at that time, have our, ordinance, if it's a matter of a, you know, panel, then, yeah. Yeah,
After this, we're having future reforms for
Right.
yes, yes.
Well, yeah, I think Brent's, Matt and Bryce have 2 years left, right?
Right, if you do it like a year after this year, long before,
Yes,
and that'll keep you in the right seat.
yeah.
And if somebody resigns, then the person coming to replace them doesn't do 4 years.
They finish up. But how do we do a blind vote with Debbie on Zoom? How would that work?
Are we drawing names out of a hat or what was that?
That's what I said, Debbie. I said I just put all 5 names in a thing and I thought, let's just draw them out and then it's fair for everybody.
Oh, well, so what would I need to do being on Zoom that would be different or whatever?
Well, they were just saying that if they had a blind vote, so everybody wrote down and passed them around, but you wouldn't be able to do that.
Oh, could I have Morgan do it for me?
How,
Or,
call her on the phone?
yeah, you can do that.
'Cause I could text her.
Yeah, I wanted to, maybe I'll walk to where it is.
After they all do this. One, two.
So not
Brings up the same
not-
things again.
stagger them tonight. I mean, it's no rush to stagger them tonight anyway, necessarily. I mean, everybody, for sure, everybody's a year, like, everybody's going to have, I guess I'm questioning, how do we ask you if they're not all here? Yeah, yeah, we could ask them at the commission meeting. Yeah, just wait for it off to the commission meeting.
A lot of them do it for 4 years.
Yeah,
3 years, 2 years. And then another
Yeah.
2 years.
and then just ask them. Debbie, did you hear what Lisa suggested?
I didn't.
You wanna-
Sorry. Oh, I was just saying that there's a possibility that maybe somebody that wants to just try it for a year and they might find they might not like it and or they love it and then they want to apply again, or they just want to try it for this year and see. So we could ask at the commission meeting that, you know, we could ask that question to all of them and see. But we could also do our time vote. We could come into the officers, fill out our ballot and leave it, you know, ask. And if it comes very great, if it doesn't,
They can bring it to you to.
somewhere to go.
Yeah, I guess I just don't want it to become a popularity contest, you know? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I just don't want it to be that then we all vote and then someone, I don't know. I mean, everybody everybody that interviewed thought it was a 4-year term. I don't think anybody that interviewed thought it wasn't going to be. So that's why I thought if we just
So
draw
should
it
we
out.
just draw it out with their meeting?
Yeah, should we do that?
Well, you have if you can do it, you're probably that, but 1 year, 1 year, 2, 3 years, and 2, 4 years, you let them go.
Mhm. Yeah, okay.
I mean,
At their meeting, okay. We're gonna take a note of that. We'll do that.
So, when are we going to determine their length of terms?
At their meeting, Debbie, and we'll just have them draw it out. And it'll just, one will say 1 year, And then it'll say 3-year and 4-year. Well, there'll be two that'll say 3-year, two that'll say 4-year, and one will say 1 year. And they will just draw that out.
Okay, and then the ones that are on for 2 years will just stay 2 years?
Yeah. Yes, their terms were already established.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, any discussion on Title 10? Mainly
Everybody
chapter?
need their, every word. You know, about all I can say on it, and I've written as closely as I could. But I think so far it's been working, and I think if you try it and get reports back that it's not working, then you'll like
Yeah,
the other thing that I think to keep in mind, if this management committee works, I think you look at maybe doing that for us all, something
Yeah.
except the others that come to the council, will approve them off the planning commission. But it might simplify the whole process.
yeah. Well, so far, I know Malcolm's started working on it, and I think he feels like it's going okay, don't you, Malcolm?
Yeah.
Really? You know, I think really for the most part, it maybe will work a little bit easier even for him, so.
The comments I get back is it's tougher on me. Maybe that's as much as a hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't said it to me. Okay, so any questions or comments on that at all? Okay, so of course we have some swearing in tonight that we don't need to discuss that, but the city council assignments, is that something you want to discuss now? We still have a few minutes that we can talk about that. Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's always a part of it. And they're like, you know, of course, repeated for like in the house.
The dragons and just.
They just like that in there and you leave it as a thoroughfare instead of.
Yeah, it's a way to cut halfway through the block to get to the next. You cut through the 7th grade, because there's a road that goes from one road to the next subdivision to the east, or vice versa, and it's a way to cut through the block.
You know, and I don't know.
We can't get it off.
How would we gate it off? Yeah,
The only solution would be not to speed bumps. So far.
yeah, that's what happens with the snow,
Hey, but-
snow plows. I haven't had a chance to talk to Jared. They've been all week in this audit. But yeah, that's, and because I've also had a complaint about they're really speeding now down 5,500 north of 4,000. And so they're concerned
And
about,
5,100.
so I can bring it up with Jared and see what we could possibly do. Yeah, like I said, I haven't had a chance to ask him because of everything.
Yeah.
Did he send another one besides the one? Did he send? Oh, oh, okay. 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 One thing too, before I go on to that, so next week's planning commission meeting is actually going to start at 5:30, because at 6 o'clock, we have Rob Terry he's going to come do a land use training. He's with the state ombudsman office. And so if any of you are interested in coming to hear that training, anytime we can have someone from the ombudsman office, I feel like they do a really good training and they're willing to leave some time for questions. So that is their meeting. And then on February 20th, and I'll announce this again to a meeting, is we will have the representative from LRB is going to come, because we yesterday finally received the fiscal analysis back on the proposed with Terra Strata, that there's going to be the proposed with the grocery store possibly. And so we So you will be getting that next week. We figured we would get that sent out. It's quite a lengthy report. So again, it's like another one like, you know, the Title 10. I don't know that any of you will really be able, I don't know, but so they're actually going to come to city council meeting. And that will be February 20th. And so we're also going to invite all of our planning commission members to be there that night so they can hear this report. And it's been a few months in coming. If you remember, we approved that last September. They didn't really get all the information from us probably till, I don't know, the end of October. Anyway, they've been gradually working. It's quite an in-depth report because they get a lot of information from the state taxes, and so that'll be good. So next week, if anybody wants to come and hear from the ombudsman, and then again on the 20th. So, okay. Okay, so city council assignments. We've tabled this a couple of weeks, so we need to, and you have something now?
No,
Oh.
it's on the, okay. I was just gonna say, I know the one change that, or the addition that we want, maybe I'll talk about that first. The budget and finance oversight.
Yeah, I think, was there somebody that we had on that before?
I don't know.
Finance?
But I think,
I don't remember. I was like, not last year, but I was thinking maybe the year prior to that, we maybe had someone that did that. And I don't know.
but I think that, you know, Ryan, you know, I think he would be the good fit for it. Express that I want some training. So within that, you know, organization that we provide with training through the week or whoever, you know.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
probably somebody else.
Yeah, I know. Like I told you, I think that's a good idea. And I also had mentioned to Ryan, we could even have, Tammy usually comes once a month. And she kind of goes through things. And so we could arrange that time when she is here. And something else we could also consider too is having Tammy come once a month if we asked her like the first so many minutes to come and kind of go through that with us as well. I think would be really good. We get those financial statements and it's not anything where we approve. It's just something that's in our packet. So I think that would be something that would be, you know, really good. Because I'm almost thinking that was something that used to be. And, you know, when it comes to just general overall with, you know, council member assignments, these are just things that we need representation from the city. And a lot of times these are boards that no one person can attend every board meeting every month. And that's why it's so important to have someone from the city council that can go to those meetings. And really, we should give more time at every one of our work meetings for you to actually give us a report. Like for instance, from the fire, if there's something, or from the sewer, or like emergency preparedness or whatever.
So to put that in place, are you, we just agree on it?
Yeah.
So one motion and.
Yeah, include that in the motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Budget.
Budget.
Yeah, just under budget and finance.
Budget and finance oversight.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if someone has different assignments. Some of these assignments, you know, we've done, and I've kind of gone through and put in needed city council assignments. And I tried to put down which ones had monthly meetings, so no one was assigned to more than one monthly meeting. But some people are going to have to be assigned to more than one monthly meeting because we have more things that they have to go to. I know, like with emergency preparedness, Bryce, I didn't know if you still wanted to plan on doing emergency preparedness. And I think you have monthly meetings, don't you, with that 3 meetings a month with the county? Animal control. I don't know who won.
Yeah, I put animal, everyone to do animal control, and I will have to.
A monthly meeting. Okay, because I thought, you know, these that have the monthly meetings, and then you'll still do the fire district, because that's going to be a monthly meeting. Debbie, I know you go to the sheriffs, you do the huddle meetings, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, and so that's,
And that's 3 days a week. It's still Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
There, what was that?
It's still Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
Yeah, it's 3 days a week.
so, and I think Debbie, along with that could also be like the VIPS program, and public safety, don't you? I thought all those went along.
Right. The VIPS program is, there's just not a lot of interest out here. I don't know how to get, I've tried to post things on Facebook. I've done flyers and I don't know. People don't want to put the time in volunteer wise to get certified.
So should we still list that as a council assignment then, or are you thinking we should just take that off?
Well, maybe take it off as a council assignment and then maybe do it as a special project.
Are you talking the VIPS program?
Yeah. I get maybe 3 or 4 that say they'll be interested, but they have to have more than that to have a class.
And then also it said public safety, but was there something specific? That was when we had listed last year, but is there something different with that?
That's part of the sheriff's department, actually.
Okay, and I know Lisa said you'd still be willing to do council.
Yeah.
So just a question on that VIPS. So we just let that,
Well, Debbie just said, let's have it be a special project. So then we could, I mean, it could be an ongoing.
that she
work on it.
kind of works on, and who, when you say it's.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still work on it and have us all, see if we can all work on it together, because one council member alone isn't able, I mean, I haven't been able to get any excitement with it. So maybe all of us as a group, we could do something.
Where is the transportation for somebody to volunteer and then have to drive to the Tite Street Sheriff's Office to pick up a vehicle? Patrol is the big hurdle, like a filter city could go in or allow use of a city vehicle and you're overnight on the side of the road and have it retrofitted, but they'll give us all the equipment to do it. But if this is, you think if I'm right in the parking lot and pick it up and go, I think you have a lot more interest in it, rather than driving 30 minutes to the sheriff's office. Otherwise, is just trying to hook up with somebody that would far less and meet at the sheriff's office and, coordinate all that. It was hard to do that. Have somebody, if you have 2 in our community that would do it with a vehicle, I think you have interest.
So I don't know that this is even a possibility, and we'll have to, when we go through budget, and maybe not this year, that maybe that's something we could look at in our budget if we ever would be able to purchase a truck.
Yes, trucks that are not used.
Just a public works vehicle or this vehicle. That's all. You throw a thing on it and it wouldn't know that.
And do they fit as just at night, during the day?
Anytime.
Because,
Anytime.
I mean, this isn't used all the time, but there is.
Mostly at night. is what
So, because I think at night, I think there would be one that they could, during the day.
Probably at night, except when you have events. Later days, might have
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
And we'd have to see if the sheriff's department would pay for the radio system to be put in for us, because
Everything that used to be retrofitted into this thing. And then we allowed to just have it.
One thought that's kind of the same, where the sheriff's department now provides gas, insurance, everything, you talk radio, everything. What if we just had someone,
Not yet.
the city has to pay for the
You
gas?
have to go through that.
If, what if we picked it up and brought it out here for someone to use?
they only let you check it out per shift.
They what, Debbie?
You pick it up for a shift. Like if you're going to be doing a VIPS run, then you go out and you sign it out for your shift. Because I was thinking it'd be great if we could leave it out here for a day or two and run it. But from what the sergeant that was over it told me, that we would have to go out there and sign it out and then sign it back in.
Within like 24 hours or?
Within your shift, so however long you kept it. So that was kind of a little bit of a you know, but there have been quite a few VIPS people lately, so I haven't talked with the newest one, so I need to do that.
Talk to him, Debbie, about that whole, I think, they pay the cost.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get with, well, when I have huddle tomorrow, so I'll ask the sheriff if I can talk to him about that.
The Western Weaver CTC has asked us to have one more person from the city beyond that committee. So I don't know if any of you are willing to do that. They have asked for 2 people from every city, from their, they call them key leaders, so from the city council.
Who was another one?
Well, in the past, was it you, Brian, that did it for a while? Bryce had done it for a while. Dale had done it for a while. I'm happy to do it. Lisa, would you want to?
Your turn.
Okay. You know what? They really do don't. Yeah, well, you know, it really is an important thing, and they're going to be coming to one of our meetings and kind of talk about, you know, something that they have a meeting once a month, which sometimes probably hard to attend, but you can always Zoom. I mean, they don't expect, and even if you can't go every time, they don't always necessarily expect you to be there every time, but sometimes that's not. Okay, well,
We're not gonna make it choose.
they are the second Tuesday of every month at 5:30. Yeah, but their next one, they're having the kickoff meeting will be, and it was actually, I think, the 3rd, but I can let you know. Okay, on tomorrow. Okay, well, we're about out of time. We need to go out and get this meeting closed so we can start. So we'll have to finish talking about things when we're in our regular working meeting. So we have time because we have to close this meeting and start another Zoom. It doesn't let it go through.